Something else, and I know they have it here, is the hyperbaric chamber. Cancer cannot live in the presence of oxygen, and the hyperbaric chamber floods the body with oxygen. A lady rang me up and she said, Barbara, a doctor in America is just discovering that cancer cells consume 15 times the glucose of any other cell. I said, that is not a new discovery. In my book, I quote Dr. Otto Warburg, I think he was a professor, in 1943. He got a Nobel Prize for discovering that. They need to go back and look at their history. You see, cancer consumes 15 times the glucose of any other cell. That's why we want to starve it. Cancer loves an acid environment. That's why we want to alkalize. And cancer cannot live in the presence of oxygen, so we oxygenate the body. On YouTube, I know there's a demo of me doing sodium bicarbonate wraps. I talked to an Indian couple yesterday evening from India who are thinking of coming to our retreat. And they have started doing the sodium bicarbonate wraps. I didn't even know they were up on YouTube. In fact, that's when I was before the Inquisition, I mean the tribunal, who was assessing why I was so dangerous. And apparently I'm still very dangerous. They said, why did you put the sodium bicarbonate wraps on YouTube? I said, I didn't. I didn't. And they said, well, why is it up there? I said, well, a doctor filmed me. Who is this doctor? And when I told them he was in New Zealand, well, they had to let that one go. If he'd been Australian, they would have taken him down. So simple. So simple. So we have seen many people conquer cancer doing this. In fact, I quote them in my lectures. One is Elizabeth Cott. She came to us 5 years ago now, and she had 3 big tumours in her abdomen. She did what I've shown you here. She said to me, I'm a vegetarian. She was in her late 50s, I think, when she came to us, maybe early 60s. She said, I'm the dessert maker at church. Now, in Australia, we have a dessert called pavlova. Have you heard of pavlova? It's like meringue. It's like meringue. It's that high, and then they have cream and strawberries on top. Well, if someone gives you a pavlova, just eat the strawberries. She said, I would make a pavlova this big and I would put 16 cups of white sugar in it. Because I think they beat egg whites and white sugar and then they bake it in it. It's sort of, yeah, that sort of thing. She said, I believe I was feeding my cancer with sugar. And when she heard this, then it started to make sense too. She was a vegetarian. You would think, well, how come she could get cancer? It's the sugar. So the sugar feeds it. When she first went to the doctor said, you've got to start chemo and radiotherapy immediately. She decided to come to our retreat. She went back 3 months later. He did all the tests. He said, I'll come back and see me in 6 months. Now, what did he say on the first time? All her cancer markers had come down. Her inflammatory markers had come down. She went back after a year and the first tumour had totally gone. She's lost weight, she's off her CPAP machine, she's off her blood pressure medication. She said to me, I haven't felt this good since my 40s.